Hello folks! How are you today? It's Lilia Bag here. This video is going to be called 5 Motivating Reasons to Read More in English. This video is going to be about reading and the benefits of reading in English as a foreign language. Or alternatively, you may use this video to inspire you to read more, whatever language you learn. After having watched this video, I hope that you walk away feeling motivated to read as much as you can, because, reading is a really satisfying thing to do. And generally, you might think I'm one of those people who are born with a tiny copy of Dostoevsky in their minuscule hands. I didn't really love reading that much when I went to school. When I was a schoolgirl, I didn't think that the literature we had to read at school was that motivating, so I stayed away from reading for a while. And when I finished school, I discovered that I was actually free to read whatever I wanted. If you don't read much, it's never late to start. And if you're already an avid reader, this video will strengthen your conviction in the fact that reading is really beneficial when learning a foreign language. Make sure you click on the like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to find out more about the ways of learning English that actually work. First and foremost, reading puts you into an English mode of thinking. You know that I'm not a native English speaker. I'm a Ukrainian-born girl who just trained myself to speak English quite fluently, I would want to believe. And generally, when I read, I find that the lines that I read stick in my memory very hard, and they keep emerging as thoughts throughout the day, just like affirmations. You know why affirmations work so well? Because affirmations, basically, if you have studied psychology, are little positive lines that you put into your memory in order to help you into a positive way of thinking. Have you ever asked yourself where thoughts originate? What a thought is? Generally, our thoughts are largely informed by our own experience. So when other people say things to us, they stick in our memory, and later on those words may emerge back as thoughts. And the same thing happens when you're reading. When you're reading, you're communicating with the author. You read certain lines that, get carved in your memory, and later on they will keep emerging, and that will help you convert your thinking into English when you will have to do so. That's why reading and listening are so helpful, Reading structures your speech. It makes it coherent. Coherence and cohesion. You may know this as an exam criterion if you're planning to take an exam such as FCE or CAE or whatever. So in all of those exams, you're being assessed on coherence and cohesion. But if you're not an exam candidate, or not even a potential exam candidate, you may find it that after having read a certain number of books, your thinking gets more coherent, your thoughts get logically organized, everything in your head starts following a clear pattern. And when you'll be communicating your thoughts to another person, you'll be doing that in a very clear manner, which is fantastic, I think. And also, I think it really helps if you tend to speak in one single long-winded sentence that never ends. Reading helps you parse your sentences. It helps you chunk your thoughts in a way that helps the target listener or the target reader understand your intentions very clearly. Another benefit of reading is that it turns you into a better writer. Whether you're writing emails because you're working for a company, or you have to write an essay because you're studying English in an academic environment, reading actually helps because it gives you an innate feeling of grammar. Those native speakers, they never care about the rules. They never care if they can explain whatever they say by means of present continuous or the present perfect. What they do is they just have a feeling of what it should be like. And with time, over time, after having done quite a lot of reading, you will start developing that inner sense of what sounds right and what sounds wrong, without even having to question the rule or refer yourself back to a page in a grammar book. Another important point is that reading makes you feel good about yourself. You're learning English for a purpose. You're learning it because you want to achieve a goal, and reading helps you put your English into practice. It gives you a way to practically apply your English understanding. It shows you that your learning process has not been in vain. And this is amazing. If you can understand an idea of a text, that means you've been learning English for a reason. And last but not least, reading teaches you common vocabulary natives use to talk about things that interest you. We all have our hobbies, we all have our areas of interest. And what is interesting about it is that we talk about things that we love. Provided you're reading about something you love, you'll be able to discover the whole realm of vocabulary which people use in the English language or whatever language you're learning and you're reading in, that is not just simply translatable from your first language. Some things are just said differently, and if you want to sound natural, reading really plays into that. You're internally motivated to learn words that interest us, so that's how magic happens. Having discussed all of that, here's a big question. What should I read? Should I read fiction or should I read non-fiction? And there we go, there is no one universal rule. You should read something you're interested in. It's as simple as that. I remember when I was about 16 and I really wanted to enhance my English skills, I went to a book market and I picked a translated copy of War and Peace in English, wishing I would read it someday, but I haven't opened it ever since. Yet now I have a sincere motivation to read books that I find interesting, because there are just some things in life that mainstream education doesn't cover, including psychology, self-help, self-reflection, spirituality, getting practical results in life, managing your finances, planning your budget, planning your day, being creative, being productive, things like that. So those are the major areas I tend to go with when I'm picking a book on Amazon that I'm going to read next. I genuinely enjoy the books that I read. I find them super exciting, super captivating, and I think you should follow the instinct of yours. You should follow your heart in finding the area where your heart lies, and that will really help you. A student of mine told me that she picks books in language 2 depending on the books that she has read in her language 1, because she's familiar with the content, she's familiar with the plot, and she really loves reading fiction. So that's how she finds English reading a little bit more motivating, because especially if you're practicing English let's say at an intermediate level, it might be difficult for you to go for an abridged English book, which means it hasn't been adapted for learners of English, and therefore if you go for a text that is way too complicated for you, you will lose your motivation. It will be way too challenging. So the level of challenge has to be quite right. And with that in mind, I have prepared a little list of my favourite reading recommendations that I'd love to share with you folks. First and foremost, I'm going to mention a few books that I really love, and those are not just books that have helped me learn my English, although I did pick up quite a few words from those books. They've also taken me far beyond that, and I just can't help sharing those with you guys. First and foremost, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. This is a great book this is a great read for people who are a married couple, or who have a husband, or have a wife, or have a partner. And this book basically teaches you the secret to love that lasts. It's a great self-help psychology book, and it talks about a simple method to actually make a love last. And I would totally recommend it if your level of English is intermediate and beyond. I read it not so long ago, and I found the language pretty comprehensible and understandable. It's super readable, and I think it will really help you achieve your goal. Another great book I would personally recommend for intermediate learners and those of you who are beyond the intermediate level is The 4 Agreements, a Toltec wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. I think this book is amazing. It's another self-help, self-reflection / self-understanding book. I really loved it because it's helped me fight my demons. And if you're a little bit beyond that in terms of your level and you're looking for something language related and you're into linguistics, or if you're just interested in learning the language for the language's sake, this is the book you can opt for. Simon Heffer's Strictly English, the correct way to write and why it matters. This book is amazing. It talks about some of those mistakes that even native English speakers make. And I found so many interesting nuanced rules in this book described in a really interactive manner. So I think you should definitely go for this book if you really love learning English in, let's say, an easygoing way, and also you want to make sure that your English is refined. And yeah, this book was fondly granted to me by an old friend, and I'm not really sure if this person is watching, but if you are, I miss you, be sure. Here's another book, and yeah, I do know the cover looks a bit ragged, but this is the book that was advised to me by a colleague who is doing a webinar in teachers' wellbeing, and this book is called The Nature Fix by Florence Williams. And this book I would recommend for advanced learners. So, oh, by the way, if we're talking about Strictly English, that's the book you can start if your level of English is upper intermediate. That would have to be the right level of challenge for you though. So back to Nature Fix. This book, yeah, well, it's a science slash self-help book, which actually talks about the benefits of nature for improving your mental well-being, and I just cannot recommend it enough because I think it's so well written, and generally it's great to practice your English if you're into architecture or traveling or camping, or if you're into social studies and social psychology and things like that. And as you can see, once I was reading this book sitting on a bench, and I picked a little leaf and I put it into the book, and that's how, for me, it reflected the essence of the book, and I truly loved it. If you're not into paperbacks, or you don't have enough opportunity to go to Amazon and get books or get ebooks, one great website I would totally recommend would have to be The New Scientist. It's also great for exam writing. Just type in on Google New Scientist and it will take you to a website which basically reflects the majority of the articles presented in the printed issue of the New Scientist magazine. It's really great. It also talks about things that are currently being explored by scientists, and I completely love it. So go there and take a look at it if your level of English is kind of upper intermediate-ish and above. Okie dokie, that's going to be it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a like if you want to learn more. Make sure that you go for one or two of the books that I've mentioned, or alternatively post your suggested readings in the comment section below this video if you want. Oh my god, what's happening there? I sincerely hope those sounds or something my cat is responsible for. That's not a poltergeist or anything. Are you an avid reader? What do you like reading in your free time? Make sure you let us all know, leave your questions and suggestions for further videos down below, and I'll talk to you very soon in my new video. Bye!